this team is 3-0. They're putting up 30 points in 3 straight games. We just talked about all the great things that we saw on Thursday night alone, and yet it feels like they have the potential to score even more points, right? Like that's the crazy thing about it. They've been leaving points out on the field. Kyle Shanahan and even some players mentioned how there's still some things to improve. And that's great. Like that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Kyle Shanahan, when asked on like is the team in the same groove that they were in last year, like to end the season last year, and Kyle said, quote, I feel like we're close. We finished last season on a roll during the season, got in a groove. I don't think we're totally there yet. I think we can clean a number of things up. I thought we hurt ourselves in a number of situations Thursday night and kind of have all three of these weeks, but I still think we can continue to improve a lot. So this is not just coming from fans, like this is coming from the coach himself, and a lot of players pretty much echoed this sentiment after the game on Thursday too. So here's what I like about it. They're not complacent. They're 3-0, but they know that in order to get where they need to go, they need to hit all that untapped potential that they have, right? So I really like that about this team, that they kind of know who they are and know what they're capable of. And anything short of that, I think at this point they've gone through it so many times before. They've gotten close so many times before. They know what the task at hand and what they need to do. So I really actually appreciate this, and us as fans calling this stuff out too. Like it's not even us complaining, but it's us also acknowledging like, man, this team is so good and they could be so much better. Like that's the crazy thing. It's a really good problem to have.
Yeah, I'll say this. You look at your stars, and they're playing great. Christian McCaffrey should have had a touchdown catch. Got knocked out last second. Trent Williams, couple penalties, right? George Kittle, drop pass. Got a couple missed tackles from Fred and Dre Greenlaw, which is not normal. And so even though you're blowing these teams out, and it's not even within a possession, there's still things to work on. The penalties, you're not turning the ball over, which is wonderful. Special teams need some work. There's still issues to work on. So whenever you have your stars that can go out and ball out and everybody can talk about how great Christian McCaffrey is and they're right, he could have had a much better game. He should have had a receiving catch on that amazing throw from Brock Purdy. And so having that extra stuff to work on from a coaching perspective, I've been there. It's hard to coach up your team after you blow a team out. But whenever you can look at and you can show on the film, we missed these 10 plays, and you can call out your studs and you can say, CMC, we can't have you getting that ball knocked out. You have to capitalize. And everybody's like, oh, damn, he's talking to CMC right now? He's talking to Trent Williams right now? And that's kind of where the Niners are. And I think that the Niners have experienced these huge win streaks, 2019, 2022. Now we're into 2023. None of those resulted in a win. So don't be complacent with winning a bunch of damn games now. We have bigger things on the horizon. That's just my thoughts. I don't know, Wayne. What do you think?
No, and I think you're right. I mean, I think the big picture is getting to the Super Bowl and winning it. I think that's the biggest picture. I mean, the Niners know that they can pull together a win streak. They can win a bunch of games. They know they can go out there. They can make adjustments. They can do all the things that they need to do. Have the Niners looked great for the past 3 games? Yeah, but they can be better. And I think that's what this whole conversation is about. And, John, you talked about that area where they can improve. I like the fact that players are accountable. They're like, damn, I got to be better. And we talk about stars. So I want to stick with the stars. Those stars are saying, I got to be better. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I love it. Right. But here's to me where I feel like when Kyle Shanahan talks, this is the area he wants the players to improve, and it's in the red zone. I mean, the 49ers are just above 50% in the red zone, if I'm not mistaken. And they're like a little bit higher than what they were in 2022. And the reason why I said that is because the Niners are getting opportunities and they're just not capitalizing off of them. And so you get that ball down into that 20, inside that 20, you have to try to figure out a way to put up points. Now, a lot of those points get negated by things like penalties, which John talked about. So, like, the Niners have to figure out how to be more disciplined, and they got to figure out a way to better execute some of those plays. When Brock Purdy threw that pass to Christian McCaffrey, was it a catch? It sure was, until it didn't happen, right? Like, it was in his hands and it got knocked out at the last second. So the players got to be they're being accountable. They got to continue to strive to be better because they know they need to get down the end zone. I think the Niners mentality is that they just want to score on every play, every drive, and I think they're happy that they can get it from Jake Moody, who's 9 for 9 on the season, which means he is 100%. I think they're happy that they have that extra weapon in the bag, but I think the offense wants to go out there and put up points, right? And they're seeing a team like the Miami Dolphins do it. And I'm not trying to say they're trying to match that. They just want to make sure that they fully execute when called upon. And execution for me has always been like the Achilles for the San Francisco 49ers, right? They get so close and then
Mhm.
boom, they don't execute, they don't make it happen. So I think early in the season they'll continue to do that. And then Steph, you mentioned something about like the Niners know who they are. Honestly, I don't think the Niners know who they are. And I actually like that. Why? Because now the other teams can't ever figure us out. And I think the Niners are interchangeable. I don't know what character that is, but they can change it up, switch it up. Oh yeah, you trying to stop Christian? All right, cool. We'll put this person in. We'll focus on this point. We'll do this. We'll do that. I think Kyle Shanahan has been in his bag, and I think this is the happiest we've ever seen our head coach. And I think the sky's the freaking limit. Like I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah,
I love it.
exactly. And to your point about the red zone scoring percentage, right now they're 20th, 53.85.
Yeah,
So
it's
again,
fine.
like for a team that in a lot of other, metrics and stats, like they're at the top 5, 10 in offense, you would expect that to be a little bit higher, right? All things considered. So yeah, that is definitely one area that could improve. Uh, but you mentioned that being something that you think Kyle wants to see improve. Now I kind of want to ask you guys, like, what is something you think you think this team can improve? It could be a specific player, a whole unit, and it could be maybe like a specific team stat. But I'm curious what you guys are thinking on this one. Well, we'll start with you, John.
Yeah, I think, if we're talking about red zone, the 49ers been down in the red zone 13 times offensively. To put that into perspective, the Cardinals, 7 trips this year, literally half. And so I think that's an issue. And with Kyle, something matters to Kyle when he does a self-deprecating joke about it in a press conference. And whatever he said, oh yeah, that's why we're having, struggling so much in the red zone just so we can do this other thing. Like, you know what I mean? And he kind of like sheds it off as like this joke. That means Kyle's offended. Kyle is upset about this issue. And
Yeah.
yeah, you fix the red zone issues, that's 40 points a game. You're getting in there. The consistency, the driving, the 20 to 20 offense, like from R20 to the red zone 20, is stellar. What happens when you get in there? They shut down the run game and they force you one-on-one on the outside and they're blitzing like crazy, which, when Brock is blitzing the middle of the field, he could just throw the fade. Debo, Ayuk, CMC, all these different, back shoulder fades he's hit. Jawan Jennings, I think he had one too. Kittle's turn next. But whenever it shrinks in there, that's rough. And I don't want Purdy taking extra hits, but at some point, the mobility factor, which we know he's got, that's one of those things I want to see, but I want him to be smart with it. So that's the area I want to see a little bit more aggressiveness with the legs from Brock Purdy to kind of equate some of that blitz. If you beat that blitz quick and everybody else is in man coverage, you should be able to get in. We saw it last year. I think it was against Tampa Bay. Where he like wiggled through everybody and got the rushing touchdown. That's one thing I want to see. A little bit more emphasis just on the athletic running ability, not play style runs, not play style. Like, I don't want you calling run plays for Purdy, but I do want to see him kind of press the issue just a little bit, just to put a little more tension on those linebackers that keep coming on the blitz in the red zone.
I like it. And to stick to the offensive side, I mean, I will say from week 1 to week 3 going into week 4, it's improved, but it's still the right side. The right side is
Mhm.
still the weakest side. And it's like if those two, if they can just get on the same page and just I'm gonna say this, once they have a great game, they will have great games for the rest of the season. Right now, they're still focusing on working on communicating and building the continuity. And I'm talking about the right side. So if you guys know who I'm talking about, and it's literally the center to the right side, right? Like it's from the center down to the right side.
Yeah,
Once
yeah.
those three guys figure out how to communicate, and I think Jake Brendel spoke about being able to communicate, or Colt McKivitz, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Brendel. They want to be able to communicate without talking. They want to know each other's gestures. They want to know each other's body movements, all that type of stuff. Once that happens, oh man, the right side will start to balance itself out. And yeah, the protection has been better. They've been better in the run blocking game, I would say. But it's like McKivitz got better this game, but Burford got worse this game. But then Burford gets better this game, and then McKivitz getting worse. And now the center's off. They have to figure out the continuity. That will help in the red zone. That would help just period. And once the continuity is there, oh my gosh, it's gonna be crazy.
The 49ers Rush Podcast.